She's one of the biggest social media influencers of her generation, but chances are you may not have heard of her. 25-year-old Emma Blackery has 1.4 million YouTube followers and received global exposure this week when her latest single cover was featured in the new Apple iPhone launch. The as-yet unsigned singer-songwriter went online to promote her music, but she also posts comedy sketches and advice blogs. Now she's written a self-help book for young people, drawing on her experiences of being bullied and suffering from mental health problems. I spoke to her earlier in the week. Emma, thanks so much for joining us in Scotland tonight.
Thanks so much for having me.
You say at the start of your book, Feel Good 101, that you're sceptical about self-help books. So why did you write one yourself?
I think it's because I would often walk past books in bookshops that had things on the front saying, this book will change your life. And part of me just thinks that's quite arrogant to assume that, you know, by reading a book, it would just magically change everything. To me, I've always believed that the power to change your life resides within the person. It's an attitude thing. You have to want to be able to change your life in order for it to happen. You know, you are the master of your own destiny. So I wanted to say from the start that this book is not going to change your life, but hopefully from people reading the book, their own mind might say, you know what, I am more confident than I thought I was, and I am able to achieve more things than I thought, and that would be life-changing.
And you've got, is it over 1 million followers on YouTube? You've got a massive amount of followers on social media. Did you then feel a kind of responsibility toward these probably, you know, some of them quite vulnerable people that were reading this book?
Yeah, that is one of the things with YouTube and having a channel where your audience is quite young. You do feel, I mean, your words have impact. When you are someone with a large social media following, the things that you say, you are essentially helping a young audience grow up with you. So if you say some irresponsible things, those children will then grow up to think, oh, well, that's okay because this person said that. So I have kind of taken on this role of trying to be like a big sister that doesn't sugarcoat things. You know, I wanted to, if I am going to be, you know, not burdened, but if I am going to have this responsibility put on me as someone that, I mean, I have a 10-year-old sister and an 8-year-old brother, so I know what it's like having young people follow my every word. So I wanted to have something that was realistic.
And you write about your mental health problems in the book. How important was it for you to speak out about that? And do you think we're getting better, you know, as a society talking about things like that? I
think over the last 10, 15 years, since I was 13, 14, growing up and first struggling with depression, things have got a lot better. We're still not completely there. We do still have institutions that fail us when it comes to reporting our mental health, and there aren't the structures in place to help the millions of people that do suffer with mental health issues. But as a society, we are becoming more accepting. We are definitely being more able to talk about our issues without it becoming more of a taboo thing. There are now magazines that are focused directly on mental health. So we are definitely getting there. We have a ways to go. But I did think as part of that, it was important for me to talk about my own mental health. I think it would be arrogant of me to make a book where I'm talking and giving advice on mental health, but without sharing my own problems and saying, this is what I've been through. And of course, every person goes through mental health issues differently. Every experience is different. So my experiences won't necessarily be those of people reading the book. But I wanted to be able to say that this is what I've been through. This is how I coped with it. This is the help that I got. And people have said since reading the book that it's inspired them to get help, which has meant the world to me.
But do you think, though, in a way that YouTubers like you, really successful, you know, you've written a book, almost contributes to some young people feeling anxious that they're not as good as others? Because you do say in the book you can all be what you want to be, but the reality is that not everyone is going to be able to fulfil their dream. There
is that, and I do actually say in the book, you know, there will be things where you want to achieve them, and sometimes they will be a bit unrealistic. But my whole message in the book is you owe it to yourself to try your hardest. I say that throughout the book, where if you try your best at something, then there is a possibility that you'll achieve it. If you don't try at all, there's a 100% chance that you won't succeed. But going back to your original question of YouTube stars perhaps making people feel more inadequate. I don't really think it differs to when I was 13, 14, and there were, Photoshop models on the front of magazines, and there were celebrities such as Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan growing up, and I used to think, oh, why aren't I successful like that? For instance, I really, really wanted to be a musician from the age of 12. I loved the band Busted. I used to play guitar in my bedroom, but I did nothing about it. I wasn't even writing my own songs. I wasn't putting myself out there. I wasn't joining clubs. I wasn't doing jam sessions. But I was sitting in my bedroom going, why aren't I famous? Why aren't I a big musician? But I'm not saying that I would have been if I put myself out there, but I didn't even give myself that chance. So in this book, I really wanted to put forward that you owe it to yourself. You have to try your best. And if you don't succeed, pick yourself up and keep trying.
But almost following up on that, you wanted to, play with that band, and you ended up supporting them. Your dream did come true. And I just wonder whether some of the kids reading that will think, well, if I want it enough, that will happen to me. And, you're very special in that respect, that you've managed to do that. But not everyone is going to.
True, but I didn't have a special upbringing. I didn't go to a music school. I was literally a normal person with dreams and wasn't doing anything about it. So in my mind, that's the experience that I have, is that I found my own path. I certainly got to perform and share a stage with Busted in more of an unorthodox way. I most certainly came up the music industry through a different path.
Finally, you're 25 years old and you've achieved so much. What else do you want to do? What's the great plan?
The big plan right now, once I have taken time out for myself after this massive book tour and really let it sink in that I've written the book and it's out now, is to focus on more music. Music is the one thing that I truly, really love doing. It's the one goal that I've only ever had in life. The one dream I've had was to be a musician. And it's the one thing that brings me joy. So next year, I'm hoping to release an album, hopefully somewhere in the summer. But that's, to be all planned out and to be written. So that's what I'm going to focus on next. I'm really excited.
And would there be another book in the future?
Right now, I'm still coming off the back of the first one. I'm still perhaps dealing with the fact that I've written it, it's done. But I would never say never. If I have something that I really want to write about and I think that it's necessary to put out in the world, then absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. A pleasure to talk to you, Emma. Thank you.